is the hypocrisy I always talk about. You were part of this is the report. Anyone wants to read, this is it, the bill. You did the work together, and then you came and you said, we don't want it. What happened to the committee? Why didn't you raise it there? Why were you part and parcel of the process? Why didn't you work out then?
I contend that creating this new tribunal system by this provision, Mr. Speaker, will bring chaos to the justice delivery system we have in our country. Mr. Speaker, this is populism. We need clarity. Justice must not just be done, must be seen to be done, Mr. Speaker.
That even with this current, what haven't the NPP said about even the judiciary, the normal courts?
The people we've learned from, only the UK and the US, they have them there. As recent as 2007, that's when even the US, UK, they did reforms and then strengthened their tribunal system. What are we doing? You see, listen, we don't live in as an island. We live in a global village. Look at best practices elsewhere. If tribunals weren't good, why do you have the ICC?
From where I sit, I've not heard any issue that has been raised and has not been given answers from anybody, without the minority or any interested person in this whole matter, because there are no issues as far as I'm concerned.
There are no issues
at all, and I'll prove it to you. The problem is that there is no problem. See, and council conceded that it is constitutional. What we are seeing today is constitutionally provided for. I'll come to certain things that has been raised. And so you know that the Constitution per 126, 142, and all that. This whole thing about trying to create an impression as though the tribunals are not part of our judicial system, it's false. The Constitution, it is part of our courts, per the Constitution. And I'll tell you a certain history. It is part of it, so it's not as if it is a different. If you look at the Constitution, the tribunals are tied together with the High Court. And in everything, their mode of appointment, dismissal, if there should be, and everything. In fact, the Chief Justice, per what is enshrined in our Constitution, the Chief Justice is the head of the tribunal.
True.
It's not the president. So I don't know where this whole thing is coming from. We try to make it as though the tribunal system is a different set of whatever. It's part of our courts, as the Constitution says. We don't have time to go into it. But if one wants me to read it subsequently, I'll do it.
No, so this is it. This is the Superior Court. That's the Supreme Court, the Court of Appeal, the High Court, and the Regional Tribunal.
It is part of our court, so you don't decouple it. It is part. According to the Constitution, it's not been repealed. That is what the Constitution tells us. Now, look, I have here, and this fear, the so-called fear. See, the tribunals as we have, or we had in the Constitution of 1992, is not the same as the tribunals we had under the PNDC era. It's not. And that point must be made at all.
What's
I have before, yes, I'll tell you. This is a copy of the report of the Committee of Experts on proposals for a draft constitution of Ghana. This is the foundation of the constitution we operate with. Now, if you read their comments or their report on the tribunals, if you have time, permit me to read this. It's very important. A lot of things has been said out there. I don't know where they came from. Please listen. Now, that is 266. The committee has carefully considered the issue as to whether the retention of the existing, and don't forget, this gave birth to the Constitution. So there was an existing tribunal, and they were to consider whether to keep that existing tribunal as it was then, or to do something about it prior to the 1992 Constitution and beyond. So whether the retention of the existing public tribunals would be compatible with the constitutional principles enunciated above with respect to the judiciary and the administration of justice generally. The committee's conclusion is that whatever the merits of the tribunals, they cannot be exempted from the general regime of the administration of justice inaugurated by the Constitution, which is anchored on the final judicial power of the Supreme Court. The citizens of Ghana should not be subjected to two parallel systems, because what they had before, just keep your mind on that. Yeah. What existed before the 1992 was like two parallel, and that is what they have sought to invent into this discussion, which is not the case. What we have now, and so you hold it. Now, it goes beyond and even talks about the United Nations Declaration on Principles of Independence. They quoted it and what it says. But this is the report, this is their conclusion. It is therefore considered, a lot happened, but I can't read everything because of time. It is therefore the considered opinion of this committee that the public tribunals cannot be retained in their present form. The committee considered whether to integrate the public tribunals into the existing traditional court structure to retain them, but subject to the supervisory jurisdiction of the superior courts.
Right.
After careful consideration, the committee opted for full integration as the most effective way of assuring the above-mentioned constitutional principle. The committee believes that this is the right approach. A lot is in there if anyone wants to read. So that is how come we had this. So it has now been incorporated into the courts of Ghana. That is what the Constitution says. If you read the report, at the time, before the 1992 Constitution, of course, you know, if we are to go, and that is why that fear I understand. But that fear is no more. In fact, even before the 2002, when Nat'l Akufo-Addo as Attorney General ensured that this was no longer the case, or we didn't have these tribunals, between 92 and the year 2000, anyone should tell me the kind of abuses they want us to believe now, whether it happened. Because it existed before President Kufuor's era, before they did something about it and made sure it wasn't working. Do you understand the point I'm making? This was in existence. After the 1992 Constitution, it was still in existence. It was abolished in 2002. So anyone should give me one incident of such abuses, the history they talk about between 92 and then 2002. One, just one. There is none. Because it was restructured. It was made to look and appear as we have in the 162 of the Constitution. So that is misplaced. There is no fear. They want us to go into PNDC. PNDC is not the same as what PNDC tribunal is not the same as what we have, the tribunals we've had under the 1992 Constitution. Because during that era, it wasn't the superior courts that had that supervisory jurisdiction over those courts. No. In fact, per what we have now and what has existed, you appeal through those regular courts, as we put it. In fact, if the regional tribunal gives a decision you are not happy about, you go to the Court of Appeal. It didn't happen during the PNDC era. So
your point of view is that there are reforms that
and the reforms are not now coming. The Constitution of 1992 took care of that. There was no fear. It was just politics. Let me be blunt. I'm saying one should give me, any 1 year, should cite one between the year 1992 and 2002 when Nat'l Akufo-Addo and President Kufuor made sure they abolished it. One of such abuses. One.
But does the mood of the nation now?
No, it's because somebody is doing politics and taking us back. It doesn't exist. It has not existed beyond 92. Take my word for it. It has not existed. Going back to PNDC is unfounded because PNDC was taken care of by the 1992 Constitution. It is now part of our... So it is politics people have done, taking us back into PNDC. It doesn't exist anymore, my brother.
What's the need for the tribunals now?
So this is it. Let me also say, before I even come to this, look, Alfred, the behavior of our brothers on the other side is becoming, I don't want to use a certain, look, we sit in parliament as one body and we work together, both sides, regardless of your numbers. The Committee on Legal and Constitutional Matters is made up of both bodies, both parties. When this bill was introduced, it was referred to that committee made up of both. They went to sit together, worked and produced this report, as I have. There was no dissent. Let's stop this. There was no dissent from a member of the NPP. They were both together. Yes, this is the report I have. Anybody can read. Their behavior is becoming something else. You sat together and came by this. You are talking about day to day. The proposal here, because you don't have the final document. It's been, I wouldn't say amended, because it's been changed. And then the committee recommended that it should be expeditious. So we've taken it out. When the final document is out, you will see. So it's been taken care of.
So at the committee level, there was consensus.
Yes, this is what they brought. In fact, they raised their issues and they were all captured. And it has to do with the substance of and not as though we don't agree to the entire thing. Do you understand the point I'm making? Of course, at the committee level, you raise, this should be amended, let's do it this way. And it was all captured. And the thing came to the plenary and you are behaving as though you've never heard it. What sort of behavior is this? That is the hypocrisy I always talk about. You were part of this is the report. Anyone wants to read, this is it. On the bill. You did the work together, and then you came and you said, we don't want it. What happened to the committee? Why didn't you raise it there? Why were you part and parcel of the process? Why didn't you work out then? And the things we are hearing, I'm a bit surprised. Look, see, they are talking up. So as for the fear, it's unfounded, completely unfounded. That's one. Now, look, and that is why I said, in fact, this thing about, even with the fear, Nat'l Akufo-Addo as Attorney General at the time, in Sunyane, at the bar conference in 2001, talked about this tribunal. That's why he gave a clue that they will abolish it. He never cited, because it didn't exist, he never cited that so-called PNDC thing.
Okay, quickly, permit me.
I want you to strengthen the argument. You see, culturally, we have this thing. It's not just, and that's very serious. They tell you that when you cure a madman, there will always be the residue of madness that he can use to intimidate people. So when you say it's unfounded, it's too extreme. That one is there. When you cure a madman, there will always be a bit of the mad.
You see, the reason I'm saying this, so I've thrown a challenge that the PNDC one, for me, and as I have read about, it's not the same as what we have under 1992 Constitution. So if you are able to cite one case,
there are. So
between 92,
there are.
Between 92 and then 2000 and what do you call it?
This is over 10 in the law reports there are.
No, but beyond 92, of course, I'm saying that, but in our courts, there are decisions that have always been over 10. I'm saying that the 92 one took care of the appellate procedure. So if a decision doesn't go in your favor, just as we have the normal courts do, you appeal. But the abuses is as though during the PNDC era, you didn't even have that right to appeal through the normal courts. That has been taken care of by the Constitution. I'm saying that the safeguards are there in the Constitution. It is not as if somebody is now seeking to bring it up. So what am I saying? Look, the issue has been this. Delays. And we are talking, and like Nat'l Akufo-Addo as Attorney General, what I said, all he said was that it's expensive. He never made mention of PNDC 10 because it didn't exist. In Sunyane, go and read the statement he put out there at the bar conference. You see, so the issue is about delays. And if anybody tells me that there will be power, there's nothing like power. Indeed, this tribunal is going to deal in criminal cases only. At least only criminal cases. So at least I don't want to call the normal courts because this is also part of, but those courts we refer to as normal courts would have the opportunity to deal with civil cases, if any. So it's been stated here the cases they will be dealing with, and those cases are, I mean, these are cases. We all talk about this galamsey thing, and we are saying that the courts, I mean, the tribunals should take care of them. What is the issue? Our courts, this galamsey thing, people go to court and it takes sometimes years. I've done cases, it takes years for us to even know the outcome. By which time, sometimes evidence, people may have been transferred, the authorities that got them arrested, witnesses and all that, would not even be there to testify. So we are saying, and as I said, it's in the report that instead of the day to day or a day after a day, we are saying that it should be expeditious, and that has been approved.
Right.
So when the final document is there, because the committee was of the opinion that you cannot, that would be tying the hands of whoever. Okay. Allow, at least you use the word expeditious so that they will be guided. But it's not as though every day you have to. In fact, there is even the Saturday thing there. We've taken them out. It's not going to exist anymore.
I see.
So it's been taken care of. We are trying to bring up as many courts as possible. This one is why we were in this country. What led to the fast track high court? And somebody is saying that is the same high court. It's not. It's not. You established it. No, but this is also within the court structure according to the law. We are lawyers. According to the constitution.
Why are you then creating the customary tribunals? The constitution is also asking for it. 125.
No, the fact, and you see, you've even made a point. We know the justiciability of the directive principles of state policy. We've gone through this. We've gone through this as lawyers. We know. So
that's why it's 125, not.
You mentioned education and all that.
No,
it's
I'm
part of
125.
You just said it. You said something before. You said
respond to this 125 too.
Why are we able to implement everything in the constitution within a day? Are we able to? The fact that we've not been able to implement one means we cannot implement another. No, please. What are they saying? What law has been breached? In all this, they should cite which law has been breached. You are only, and now I'm saying that there is no issue because they were part of this whole thing. It's only when they come out, the normal politics. They did it with the LGBTQ. If the report is here and they are listening or watching, they should tell me that they never participated in the work that eventually came to Parliament.
I see. Now, thank you. Hold on to that. Let me bring in Professor Gyampo, because this is not only a matter of law. It's also a matter of governance as well, because Kwesi Kwarteng referred to the mood of the nation and the demands of the nation and why the need for a tribunal at this time and what exactly is going to really serve. Is there
change?
Is that pardon?
In change. What is it going to change?
What's going to
serve and change? Yeah, in our justice system.
Okay, Prof, let me.
You want me to answer?
I'll come to you on that, please, Prof.
Thank you very much. I think that I've enjoyed the expositions of Bernard and Martin on this. Please, let's stick to what you sent to us prior to we coming to do this program. Let's stick to it. You know what I'm talking about. So Martin has been unnecessarily interjecting. Oh, keep quiet whilst we...
Okay.
All right, so you know that there was a promise to recover all loots in the lead up to the 2024 elections. There was a promise to ensure that we fast-tracked our administration of justice, and we've always had this belief and cliche that justice delayed is justice denied. Now, I've always argued that we cannot guarantee the survival of Ghana's fourth republic if we don't do something about rot, corruption, economic crime. Now, research show that one of the reasons why President Mahama had that massive vote in the 2024 election was the belief and the expectation that something drastic would have to be done to address economic crime and corruption. Generally, we also agree several research, Afrobarometer surveys, etc., have highlighted the challenges and problems that we've had with our traditional court system. The court system generally have pandered to the cliche that the wheels of justice must always grind slowly, without being concerned about how this cliche undermines public confidence and threatens the survival of our democracy and the survival of our peace. So it's always, allow it to go through the regular process. Let it go through the regular process and the wheels of justice would grind slowly and all. But I'm saying that the perpetuation of this cliche without us being minded by how this cliche threatens the survival of our democracy and the survival of our peace, makes us a people who do not think right. Now, let me give you an example before I go on to make my substantive point. I mean, somebody said something against me, very unfounded, made some wild allegations against me. And then I was very uncomfortable. I got my lawyer, showed all the evidence that suggests that what the person was talking about were unfounded. And then I sat down with my lawyer, Candy Bedu. The Candy, take the person to court. She looks at the evidence I had provided, said, your matter is solid. We are going to court. But by the time she was leaving my office, she said, "My Prof, at the minimum, we'll spend 2 years to have judgment." I said, "What? 2 years?" She said, "Oh, by the axis of the wheels of justice, they say it grinds slowly." And I said, "It's okay, let it go." Now, I decided to forgive. But I'm telling you that to some people who feel that they cannot tolerate this bogus cliche that we have festered and perpetuated as a people, they want to take things into their own hands and misbehave. And when they do that, we cannot guarantee the survival of our peace and democracy. So the idea of ensuring speedy discharge of justice through regional and the creation of regional tribunals, which are constitutionally provided for, in my view, must not worry anybody, particularly those who know that they have not done anything wrong against the state. When they are selling headache medicine, the crab would always be asleep because the crab has no head. If you have not gone to do anything that is untoward, if you have not perpetuated any economic crime against the state, if you've not looted, I mean, it's crab medicine, headache medicine they are selling. The crab must always be sleeping because it has no head. Look, as for you see, there are arguments. You see, the point is this: there are arguments for and arguments against the attempt to, or the establishment of these tribunals. But in my view, so long as these tribunals do not sin or are not sinful against the spirit and the letter of our 1992 Constitution, and so long as they have specific focus to tackle corruption and not generally issues of human rights, then the government, as I've always argued with some people, has the mandate to go ahead to do what is right. And it's been said here, I'll give specific example, that the kind of tribunals that are being set up or are going to be set up are going to be way different from those ones that were established during the Rawlings PNDC regime. Number one, if you look at the tribunals that were established during Rawlings' regime, the tribunals were established through PNDC Law 24, and this was outside the 1979 Constitution. But the current ones that are to be established, they find their roots in constitutional provisions. So Article 142, 143, etc. of the 1992 Constitution have been used, have been mentioned. If you look at the scope of the tribunals that operated during the revolutionary times, they had broader scope of dealing with criminal issues and then also dealing with political issues. But the scope of these ones to be established are narrow. They are talking about economic crimes and corruption. Then you can also talk about the right of appeal. During the PNDC times, the tribunals, once they convict you, you didn't have right to appeal. I'm thinking that, you see, they were taking inspiration at that time from the Athenian court system. Athenian court system was tried by jury. And when you are tried and then you are found guilty, you could not appeal because they believed that the trial itself was done by the people themselves. And if all the people themselves have agreed that you are guilty, then you didn't have the right to appeal. I mean, that was one of the challenges of that Athenian court system. But in this current tribunals that are being established, you have the right to appeal if you think that things have not gone well with you. And then in terms of human rights, the PNDC tribunals, there were limited safeguards to ensure that human rights were protected. But here, the ones that are being established, it is talking about, you see, just constitutional cases, and then there are fairness principles, and it has safety nets to ensure that human rights are not unnecessarily abused. In terms of composition, in the PNDC era, it was often non-lawyers and PNDC appointees. But in terms of composition of what we have, the sentiments that have been expressed do not, I'm sure, will be taken on board. But if you look at how their provisions are in terms of composition, number one, you have a lawyer. Okay. And the rest of the members can be lawyers too. They have not said that once you have a lawyer, the other members should necessarily not be lawyers. They could be lawyers, they could be non-lawyers. But the point is that if we have an appreciation, or if you have confidence by trial by jury, okay, which I've always insisted and argued that sometimes it is better for your own people, your own colleagues to trial you, because they better. I was giving an example. If we are all here and then somebody does something that is wrong, and then we are asked to trial the person, we appreciate, and the person is one of us, we appreciate the conditions and the circumstances and the context, okay, within which the person committed a crime. You send it to a judge who is far, far, far remote from the context and circumstances. He's not able to better appreciate. So my point is, if your own people tell you that you are guilty, then you are truly, guilty. Mm-hmm. And so if we know or we encourage trial by jury, then we should not, as a people, all of a sudden be arguing as if other people who are not judges or they are not lawyers sit and they comment on your conduct, then necessarily they may be wrong. Then maybe last but not the least, we should know that the previous tribunal operated under a military/revolutionary era. The kinds of tribunals that are being proposed now are going to be operated under the fourth Republican democratic practice. So I want to say again, that's, well, sometimes it is good. I like what Martin said earlier, that if there are fears, we should be minded by them, so that as we go forward, as we prosecute this agenda, we ensure that the fears are not allowed to manifest. But if you look at the differences between the tribunals then and tribunals now, then I can agree with Bernard that the fears may not necessarily be well-founded. Okay. And it is part of us, our political gimmicks and game that we play in Ghana, that the opposition must always oppose. And and I keep saying that as the good people of Ghana keep learning, we cannot also always continue to be insulting to their intelligence. Okay. Bernard is telling me, is telling all of us, that this thing that we are here talking and we want to split hairs about, this thing evolved or emanated from a bipartisan discussion, okay, at the committee level. And so how do you send your people to go discuss this, and then they all agree, they churn out a report, and then you come in the public, and because you must always oppose, you want to oppose for everybody to see that you oppose, and you think that the good people of Ghana are not learning. The last time that I had some good, positive public commentary about the opposition was when we had them directly giving orders that, look, President Mahama has declared that we should all participate in a certain national cleanup exercise, and the opposition had not opposed, but had also instructed that its members must participate. Okay, thank you. And I had public commentary about that conduct of the opposition, and that was positive. That so they are not always there to be opposing. And I think that it's important that we continue to drum home this point, that the opposition, it is part of the duty of the opposition to offer criticisms, but they must not always create an impression that they are always there to oppose, especially if it is unearthed or revealed to the generality of Ghanaians that you are opposing something that you yourself participated in preparing in camera.
Okay.
Then it doesn't make you look good. So my point, let me wind up by saying that, look, if this would further Operation Recover all loot, then I will fully support, because if you speak to the generality of Ghanaians, many people are worried. You promised that you're going to be recovering all loot, and the processes are too slow. The processes are too slow. If this thing would ensure quick dispense of justice without necessarily compromising human rights, then I think that we are in a good place. Let's proceed.
So that point you end on, the quick dispensation of justice without compromising the rights of the accused, is why I bring in lawyer Kofi Bentil.
I don't want to spend time on the workings of parliament and committees and how things pan out there, but please do not be confused by a committee report that says that it was unanimous. Sometimes they actually will leave it to the plenary, because at the committee level, all kinds of things go on. It's a small group, and you can have your say, but the dynamics are different. So this is not something that we should all maybe latch on and say, because the committee report says it was unanimous, it means it was unanimous. You take what happens at the plenary. Okay. Because they don't just come there and come and scream and shout. They have their strategy.
But the committee report captured is unanimous. That's what
the point I'm making. I don't want to spend the time going there. Listen, my colleagues here brought Athens. Me, I like history. All right. The Athenian cause, Helia, they're about 2,500 years ago, 500 years before Christ. All right. I'm saying this because I often like to say that the positions that we've come to today, in terms of the democratic structures and things that we have, they have been worked on, debated, experienced over 2,000 years plus. And certain conclusions have been arrived at. So take the Athens thing. In the Athens jury systems, they came up with these democratic principles about, justice emanates from the people and all those other things. They had judges. They had learned people. But they said, let the people deliver justice directly. You could have 500 people in a jury in Athens. And they also believed that it would reduce corruption, etc. Please read about Helia, read about the Athenian jury system. Do you know one of the features of the Athenian jury system over time, for which reason they collapsed it?
No.
It was extremely manipulated over time. There were issues of bribery. The citizens who came there to come and dispense the so-called justice did not care about the outcome of the thing. They wanted some money and then they would take the thing and would go. It degenerated and they stopped it. Now, I am saying this because 2,500 years ago, there was an experience. Mm-hmm. There was this idea, this is what will work. And that's what I'm hearing on the table. It's supposed to do this. It's supposed to be this. It is not the same old one. It will be different. The ideas, the dreams, the things people want to see. And then they create this thing around it and say it's going to deliver this and that and that and that. And there is always a certain experience. And let me say this for history. People forget. Tribunals have been a persistent, consistent feature of almost all governments in Ghana, with the exception of very few. Kwame Nkrumah had tribunals. The Kulungugu bombing was done by tribunals. They were judged by tribunals. And even in some of those cases, there were judges there. All right? Mm-hmm. Now, come across, maybe Buzia's time or so, but almost every government. And you know what they say? It will increase the pace of judgment. It will bring ordinary people into justice delivery. The same things you are hearing today. And guess what? They all have a particular feature. 1, they are used for political persecutions. 2, they are prone to political manipulations. 3, a lot of the things, the judgment that they deliver is questionable. Bibi was just saying here that show me one. I'm happy I'm not the one who did it. Martin just corrected him. Many of them were overturned when they entered the court system. Okay. No, hold on. I beg you. I didn't agree with you, but I left you alone. So see, when you tell me about one of the things people who have lived through tribunals in Ghana know is that tribunals don't dispense clear justice. If you don't know, then you don't know our history. Okay, look, there is a reason why even the PNDC, when he was leaving, in transitional provisions, they basically cancelled the tribunals. Okay. And then, you see, when we sit here for 2-3 hours and we try to deal with these things, it looks like we are dealing with it. But there are times when you put people together, like the Constitutional Review Committee, number one, serious people, lawyers, professors, ordinary persons, learned people, they sit down over a year plus with all the resources available, with research and everything. Constitutional Review Committee 1, after going through our history and everything, recommended something. Do you know what they recommended? Abolish tribunals. They never do us any good. That is Constitutional Review 1. We didn't use it. Constitutional Review number 2, Kwesi Prempeh and Co. They sat down over a year thinking through this, looking at it and everything. Do you know what they recommended? After everything they've looked at, they said, abolish tribunals. They never do us any good. The government white papers agreed. All right. People say, oh, participation of, private persons is used to. I said, since 2,500 years ago, people have said those things. I put something up yesterday. How many of you lawyers remember your criminal law class on post hoc, ergo propter hoc? How many of you remember it? But it is a central and key thing when you are dealing with criminal law. Why I'm saying what I'm saying is that, Charlie, when it comes to dealing with the liberties of people, and your democracy, you don't just get up and say, I feel like this, so let's go ahead. Okay? So look, I keep saying this. One of the key features, and only a fool does not learn from their history. Okay? And when something looks like something, it does not mean it is that thing. Okay? A canoe is not a small ship. They both go on the sea. They both have people and everything and goods and things. But a canoe is not a small ship. A goat is not a small cow. No matter what you feed a goat, no matter how long you treat it, no matter what you do to it, it will never become a cow. One of the features of tribunals is that, one, they have more relaxed rules. A tribunal is not a regular court. Otherwise, why do you use it? Why do you create it? And usually they are created specifically and they are used, like I've said, for political reasons and that kind of thing. Now, if you say you want to speed up the court system, you want to improve justice delivery, you want to do the tried, tested system that we have today. We work in the courts. We know the problems we have in the court. If you want to speed up the justice system in Ghana, there's one thing you have to do, otherwise you haven't done anything. Do what my brother here said. We speak and we have to pause for people to type. When today, every average smartphone can do voice transcription. And we've spent millions of dollars in IT in the courts. I have a project, I've submitted it. It can be done. That is what you do. If you want quick justice delivery, if you say a tribunal is equal to or part of the justice system, why don't you, is it a circuit court? Is it a district court? Is it a high court? If that is what you want, increase the number of high courts. All right? And when you talk about, the lay participation is good, there's a jury, and that is different from when you have lay people presiding, even if there are 3 and includes 1 judge. Look, when you have a jury, there's a judge, and the judge controls the jury. The judge will give them their rules and whatever it is. In fact, the jury, in some cases, will be selected with the agreement of the participants, both parties. All right? A juror may be sequestered, or the juries may be sequestered. You can put them in a place and say, you don't watch TV. Okay? A juror can be removed if it is found that certain things, around them, don't endure. They are very, very different from when you have a tribunal of 2 lay people, with all due respect, whatever they know, law is law. Okay? And 1 chairman who they can override. All right? And then they are calling the shots. Like I said.
So you said they can override the chairman's position?
If it comes to a vote and there are 3 people, and only 1 is a lawyer, they can vote him out. And sometimes, when it comes to the decision making, it comes to votes. Okay? So I say, sheep small boy is not canoe. A goat is not a cow. It may look so. And you see, my worry is, we have been through this over and over and over and over and over again. Today, you come and tell me that, it's part of the Constitution. It's part of the Constitution. Look, it is part of the Constitution that within a certain time, we must make education free. Within a certain time, we must create disabled access for all people. These are crucial things people need. And if you talk about disabled access, it is something we can do. We should have done by now. When you travel elsewhere, people are in motorized, wheelchairs in town. Because they are sidewalks. Today you go to government buildings, there are no disabled access. Is this your priority? Is this your priority? Of all the things that we can do, is this your priority? I have no doubt that just as we've seen since Athens 2,500 years ago, and every tribunal system we have had in this country, if this is done, it is done simply because, one, they have lax rules. The rules are not as strict as the normal courts. Two, they are prone to political manipulation, and they will be politically manipulated. I don't think they are going to pick Kwati and put him there. All right? So see, we should appreciate the fact that if we want to build a country, we need to build it for everyone. Okay? Today, the opposition is on one side, and they are saying, no, don't do it. I worry that if they do this, power changes hands. We have seen things that the opposition said we will abolish when we come. They come and they use it. Okay, let's build a country we will all be comfortable in. As for the speed of the justice system, from England to everywhere, when you are the accused and you are the one whose liberty is at stake, you appreciate the fact that it is useful for the wheels of justice to grind slowly. Nobody likes it. Okay, so please, we can do a lot to speed it up, but to speed it up does not mean take out certain parts, put people on a railroad and just move them in. Okay, so please, when we talk about, look, the people who have the power today, they will do what they want to do, but they must be minded. And just the way they have cited examples, I am telling you as a matter of fact, there's a history of tribunal. Check every one of them. The two things you will find is that their rules are more relaxed than the normal courts, and they are prone to political manipulation, and often that is what happens.
Would you not say that the framers of the Constitution were minded about some of these weaknesses you talk about, reason why they put some of these provisions in there?
Good.
For instance, to check the appointment onto the panel and so on, the criteria, and also what is expected to be of high moral character, proven integrity. These are requirements for even appointment onto the Supreme Court, is it not?
Okay, good ideas don't implement themselves, and talk is cheap. When you say high moral character, who determines that? Okay, was King David a man with high moral integrity? King David. God himself said, David is a man after my own heart. Was he a man of high moral integrity? The person God says is a man after my own heart. Was he? Who is the mother of Solomon? Okay, so you can say some of these things. That's number one. Number two, again, some history. History is this. Do you know the people who sat in the Consultative Assembly and passed the 1992 Constitution? Do you know that the lawyers boycotted it? Are you aware? The PNDC people who did tribunals, who later in their transitional provisions annulled it, okay, sat down and wrote this Constitution, and the lawyers boycotted it. So they put their things inside, all right? And I've told you that not one, but two review commissions have sat down, take a look at this, look at our history, and concluded that let us not do this. Okay. In the Bible, it says all things are permitted, but not all things are useful. It is a bad argument to say it is in the Constitution, so let's do it. Okay. Learn from your history. Otherwise, you are bound to repeat its mistakes.
Justice, just to make the point that, you see, and as we try to shape the conscience and consciousness of people and shape public discourse, you must also be careful about the way and manner we look at some of this. Sometimes I feel there's a tendency for us to, a coin would always have two sides. There are arguments for and there are arguments against. Okay, so we must be mindful about this, look at both sides, and then also, if it's about what has happened in the history, if we want to look at what happened in history, and so based on that, always take some of these positions, then will it be fair, for instance, that a certain regime badly governed, and so then we must then outlaw them because of what they did historically? It may not be fair, because things can always change. And then also in my submission, I tried to look at what the features of the tribunal then
Okay.
And then the features of the tribunal now. And then I've also said, the fears that you are talking about, Martin has also, it evokes fear. But in a democracy, and if we are listening to ourselves, and we are willing to ensure that we do what is right, then we would ensure that some of these fears that are being expressed, even though in practical times or in practical terms, you can distinguish between what used to happen then and what's happening now. You would also ensure that the fears do not actually, manifest. So I am very much confident, and I think we should be more positive that if we will be able to, through this, ensure the survival of our democracy. Because, like I said, if we don't do things radically for us to be seen that we are confronting looting and economic crime, and we are confronting politics and political corruption in a manner that serves as deterrence to other people. So now, yesterday, somebody was telling me something that, look, now it appears that if you look at the way and manner things have slowed down in the fight against corruption, or in bringing into fruition the oral, it appears then that the easiest profession, to get into will be to join politics. And then when you join partisan politics and then you get an appointment and you begin to loot and all that, there will be promises that will fight it, but then the politicians themselves will resort to their own ways and means to slow down the processes such that you are free in perpetuity. So I think you and given where we stand and what we stand for,
right,
I think we should more be focused on the radical things that we can do to send a certain message to people that you cannot.
You get that underlying sentiment to be one of.
I think you are literally speaking my language, and my whole point is that the answer to everything you've just expressed is not by establishing a tribunal. It's by having an expanded and fortified.
Let me get
look, when we do this, we suffer a certain fundamental deficit. Look, you can never build any justice system, on only the traditional courts. A justice system based on only the traditional courts, largely like what we have, is not bound to meet the needs of a modern society. The people, yes, I'm sorry, the people we've learned from, principally the UK and the US, they have them there. As recent as 2007, that's when even the US, UK, they did reforms and then strengthened their tribunal system. Well ingrained, you have what? His Majesty's courts and tribunals. What are we doing? You see, we don't live in as an island. We live in a global village. Look at best practices elsewhere. You think if tribunals weren't good, why do you have the ICC?
Why do we have the
ICC?
Them?
Have you outlawed the ICC?
No.
The International Criminal Court.
Different animal.
Have you outlawed?
It's a very.
Have you outlawed the International Criminal Court?
It's a very different animal.
It's my no.
Okay, gentlemen.
No. So
let me get.
So I'm telling you that. Look, I'm telling you that this thing. If you check, we are not reading enough. That's why. Yeah, we all admit that.
No. Prof, please.
Yeah, we all admit that the past was bad. That's why I said when Anas did the video, please Google the Anas video led to the sacking of over 50 judges. It's over 50. Did we shut down the judiciary?
No.
Did we shut down the judiciary?
This example, I don't get it.
The example is that you are saying corruption subject to manipulation. Aren't they still going on? No, but the Anas is not history. The Anas expose that led to the sack. Even the High Court judges alone, at least 12. Please Google it. We don't have enough time to read. Even the High Court judges alone, out of the over 50, I think my memory is going to around 70, and the court staff, all over 100 people purged out of the judicial system. Did we shut down the courts? And I'm telling you that a court system, look, can somebody Google from the US Constitution? Tribunals are in Article 1. They have kept theirs. We made a mistake.
US or UK?
US.
Because US is about special.
They are called this Article 1 tribunals. They are there, legislative courts, etc. Their tax courts are tribunals. Tax courts in the US, etc. So we are not reading enough. We're behaving as if Ghana is just an island, and then we just come. No, tear it down. Look, the thing will go in. Yes, Abdullah, I hear you on some courts not having.
Hold on, gentlemen. Let me hear.
Oh, now I'm now coming to your point. The one about over 50 courts not having judges. Hey, I'm alarmed. Yeah, it's quite a serious thing. Maybe the Chief Justice, maybe you guys need to go and interview him. He says 50 courts, 50. You go to court. Yes, but you know, I'm largely in Accra, so you won't
in Accra, we don't have voice transcription. Me, I can.
Yeah, that one I agree. The voice transcription. Court workers are even sending messages about elevators not working, etc. Right? Yes. Wait. Okay. So as I've said, look, in the US, yes, though we are older than them in certain respects, we copy a lot from them. The tax courts are tribunals. The tax courts, these tribunals we are setting, one of their jurisdiction are what? Matters of taxes.
Different.
The US tax court, it was set up by Congress, their parliament, to handle tax matters. Tax matters in the US, they are handled by tribunal. Please, let's stop doing this. We are not reading enough.
Okay.
We are not reading enough. Right. And the politics is becoming too. As I've said, there are issues. Like this morning, BB has mentioned, is it BBB, has mentioned that the daily trials that I got excited about initially, and then later in the week I said, hey, it's overly ambitious. I'm happy saying that when it comes out, it won't be 42 days, but maybe an extended a bit. Maybe 6 months. So no timelines at all. Then that's a retrogression. We must necessarily have a timeline. 6 months.
Thank you.
What should it?
Thank you very much. No, Prof. Thank you.
No, you made a second point.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
So other examples abound, but because there isn't time, maybe we should do TV3 perhaps do a special symposium. Let's all go and read and do a proper symposium on only the tribunals. Look at all the world. There is no proper justice system anywhere in this world where you can use only traditional courts. If you don't have tribunals, you don't have a justice system. I'm telling you, if you don't have tribunals, you don't have a justice system.
So this time we stop tribunals.
Yes, you don't have a justice system.
Thank you.
All that we are saying, okay, and answering Prof Gyampo, we need to look at our history and what we do. Today we have tribunals, we just don't call them that. Okay, so question. The problems we have, are these the solutions to the problems? Answer, we can have 1 million tribunals, we'll still have the same problems and worse, because you know what? Our history has shown, and every tribunal and every government has been different. Okay. They've considered differently, rules differently, a few things, but they've always had one feature, political manipulation and, all those other things. So, if we decide that we're going to do tribunals today, and we don't touch the problems we have, the problems will remain. Tribunals will create another layer of problems. This is our history. These are the facts. Okay. And if we don't do anything different, we'll end up the same way. That is why Dr. Ine himself said that even though they were on the books, we had them, they have been defunct in practice.
All right.
Okay, because we realize that, look, these things are not a solution. And you are bringing the same thing back. When you say that, even though we had them, we were not using them because in practice they were...
Thank you. 1 second. British Martin is getting 1 second. No, 10 seconds. I mentioned the Star Chamber. Do you know what? In the 15th century, the British were saddled with too much corruption of the upper class. So they created the Court of the Star Chamber to deal with corruption of the upper class. They dealt with it, and then eventually... 1641, they had to abolish. So what I'm saying is that a society reacts to its problems.
So the mood of the nation now.
Yes, exactly. It demands the tribunal.
Okay.
It demands it.
Thank you.
It demands
all of them said no.
It demands it.
Thank you. BBB.
See, please, I didn't interject. Please allow me, because there are a few things I have to. First and foremost, it would be dishonest on anybody's part to discredit a report from a committee of parliament, which committee report has been brought to the chamber, the plenary. Please allow, please, let's abide by. I beg you, there are a few things I need to respond to. For anybody to discredit and make it look as though it is nothing, it's dishonesty. This is the report that gave birth to all the arguments in the chamber. Without this report, you don't even have your say. It's a committee of the Speaker of Parliament who discredits it and says that it is of no use if the plenary does whatever. It will be dishonest on anybody's part. In fact, we are calling on our brothers and sisters. We are calling them out for their dishonesty. Because the committee, if you had a position as a minority caucus, the position includes working with this committee. In fact, there have been committee reports where the dissenting opinions are stated. If you dissent to anything, it is stated. So let nobody trivialize it as though it's nothing. It's so much. We have to call them out. It is very important.
The plenary overrides.
Okay.
No, please. There is an importance. You see, I'm saying that it will be.
The plenary.
Gentlemen.
If you heard me, I'm saying that you have a caucus position. Please listen to me. I'm not talking about what supersedes whatever. A caucus position who are saying that they do not subscribe to this. Which caucus had members who sat and brought us this report? Please allow. It will not always suit you. Please allow me. I heard you. It will not always suit you. Allow me. What is this?
Okay, thank you. Let's move on.
Are you a member of NPP? Are you a member of NPP? Are you a member of the
More Catholic than the Pope.
I'm asking. Are you a member of the
Focus.
No, so allow me. It's not why. What is this?
You are being counted.
No.
It will not always suit you.
Let me-
It will be dishonest on anybody's part to discredit this.
Okay.
I maintain. Now listen, there's been a lot that has been said. It's as though somebody is trying to invent something new. If you ask, and it is not even true that it is necessarily going to be lay people. If you read the Constitution, which has been reintroduced here, it's not the case. It says they may or may not be lawyers. So it is also not true for anybody to say that it is lay people. And somebody is saying that jurors is what? Capital offenses. The highest we have. We use jurors, some of whom are teachers, retired, whatever, have never read law. In fact, per the Procedure Act, their decision is final in terms of the fact. It is the law that the court, and in this one, we are saying that when it comes to the law, it is the presiding, who is the chairman of the committee that presides, who is not appointed by any process, but by the same process as a high court judge is also appointed. Let us read the content and stop giving lecture. Read this thing. Please, may I have it? Look, there are a lot of things. Read. It is so different from what we have. What I've said is not that even with this current, what haven't the MPP said about even the judiciary, the normal courts? Haven't they called judges out?
NDC too.
Yes, so have we collapsed the court because somebody alleges anything? Please allow me. We are saying that once there are safeguards, which didn't exist before, safeguards in the sense that you can appeal. That is what is here. It is totally different from what used to happen. Please, let's read what is inside. At the moment, what we have, and the Constitution says we should have, there are safeguards. If there is a decision you don't agree with, you go upstairs. That is the same thing with our court system. So there is nothing. Yes, so there is nothing wrong with it. In fact, I would say the difference I see with what we have and what I'm saying that this is not a human rights court. If you have a human rights case, you go to the traditional court. At least this one will take some burden off. Nobody can discount it. Why? When the fast track,
Have more courts.
No, but when the fast track high court was put out there, there were courts that didn't have light. When you call regular court, when you look at the Constitution, it says that our courts include tribunals. Yeah. Please, let's read and stop this. Because the tribunals are not somebody's invention today. It is part. No, please. Maybe not you.
We make them, but we are just recognizing that.
You see, people are just giving some theories out there. So look at the law. The law says that our courts include high courts and tribunals. But just as you have circuit courts, we have tribunals. It's just a matter of nomenclature.
Yeah.
What it is here is this. Look, when you read the act, the bill 25, rules of procedure before a tribunal. Let us have the bill and read. Talk about the content. Okay. 1. The procedure before a tribunal shall be in accordance with the provisions of Criminal and Other Offences Act 1960 Act 30. This is what is going to be used. So if anybody does anything, no. So all courts, you see, the difference I see is that all courts are courts of civil and criminal and whatever. If we have a court dedicated for criminal cases such as this, there is no issue. And this thing, Justice Abdullah, there is also nothing wrong here. When we had the fast track high court, you didn't mention that it was wrong. It wasn't. Yes, what fast track? Why did you add fast track? Why did you add fast track?
Thank you.
No, wait. Now, Justice Abdullah has also said something. Please, yes. Justice Abdullah has also said something to the effect that
let's set up the customary tribunal. So that we go.
He said that when you say offenses against the state, every offense, please, read the constitution.
A crime is
That please allow. Hey, this one there, maybe you have to join them.
No. They don't address me.
So you see, so please, let's go by what has been given to us.
Yes.
Please. You see, 143 of the 1992 Constitution. We are lawyers. We are not seeking to amend the Constitution. What is in the law is what is in the law. Please allow. What does it say? It says that the regional tribunal shall have jurisdiction to try offences against the state. So if Justice Abdullahi today makes it as though it is NDC or it is Ayine that is trying to put this across, it is what the Constitution says, that is the jurisdiction of the of the tribunal. So if you say that which offences are not, it is provided for. No, I don't have a problem.
No. I never.
Please, you said it. You said which offences are not against the state.
Yes, but
it's a constitutional imperative.
No, but when you say that, I am making Ayeni or the NDC look.
No, your argument, if I heard you, your argument was as though this one, you said we don't need it. And that you say that they will be responsible for this. By that, which offenses are. I'm saying that it is not just in this act, a bill. It is in the Constitution.
Clearly, you didn't listen to me.
Well, maybe
because everything I said,
are out there.
Everything I said, it made reference to the constitutional provisions. And I said, and I emphasized on this, that all crimes are automatically against the state.
Yes.
That's what I said.
No, but the
so
Constitution...
saying that I am attacking...
No.
I never sought to attack anyone.
Maybe you got.
So
I've heard you. No, but I'm saying that against the state, it's a constitution. You understand?
Yes,
it is not as if
more direct.
And it's the constitution that says that the tribunal should deal with it.
No, but I never.
I've heard you. Fine. You said you didn't attribute it to anybody. But I'm saying that
that's where the distinction is.
So just make your point.
Thank you.
See, what I've seen here. Look, let me wind up. What I've seen here today.
I understand both of you.
I am very well ready if I have to confront or the NDC.
You didn't
but
do
not
that.
when I haven't done that.
Well, if that, maybe I misunderstood. You see, what I've heard here.
See, battles that do not exist, you don't create it.
You see, you see, all I've heard here from opponents of the bill, with the greatest respect, are theories. Nobody is looking at the bill and the safeguards in the bill as we have it. It isn't just a matter of nomenclature. If we have a circuit court which should operate under Act 30, if we have a three court which also operates under Act 30, there's no issue. There's no issue. It doesn't matter, and the duplication does not amount to any fear, as you claim, because they should operate under the law. In fact, if they do otherwise, you have a right under the law to proceed. So what is the issue?
Thank you.
I mean, what is really the issue?
Thank you very much. Let's hear from our view.
The NPP cannot be underestimated. You know it, I know it.